To the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by Cullen Shwarz, the Chief of Good Thoughts, also known as founder and CEO of Done Good. He's going to chat to us today about his company. We're going to get to know him a little bit and just have a generally good time. So thank you so much for joining us today, Cullen. How
Yeah,
are
thank
you
you.
doing?
I'm all right. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So what is Done Good? Talk to me.
Done Good. Forbes called us the Amazon for social good. So we're a shopping
Okay.
site where everything you buy fights poverty, fights poverty, fights climate change, supports other good causes. So you know that just by getting stuff you were going to buy anyway, you're helping to make the world better and helping to support your beliefs.
Yeah.
So we have over 11,000 products on the site from over 120 brands, but we screen every single brand who sells on the site to make sure that they're paying living wages, producing, of course, in safe conditions, no child and trafficked labor, not being created in sweatshops, but in good environments
Yeah.
with good wages, and that all the products are incredibly eco-friendly. You're supporting sustainable business and, again, reducing emissions, fighting climate change. And a lot of the brands and companies, donate a portion to charity on top of all that. So just supporting a better world and a lot of good causes. And we believe in consumer spending as the world's most powerful force for change. We always cite this stat on our site. Americans gave $320 billion to charity last year, but we spent over $14 trillion buying stuff. So that means that if just 2% of the dollars we spend buying things could help reduce poverty, could help fight climate change, could support other good causes, then 2% of our spending could do as much good as all the donations to all the nonprofits in the country. And so it's about, helping to make it easier and easier for people to be able to get the things they need, but know that the dollars that they're spending are supporting a better world and making it better. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool. I mean, with the, age of fast fashion and people being a little bit more woke now and stuff, I feel like it's definitely a need. And also like, sometimes you feel like you're buying stuff for a good reason, like you're buying organic stuff from Zara or something, and it's actually not. It's still fast fashion. When I found out, like I watched a couple of documentaries about that and I was like, oh my gosh, I was duped.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of that, a lot of greenwashing. Although I always tell people too, the fact that greenwashing exists is progress. 10 years ago, certainly 15, there wasn't much greenwashing. The fact that major companies are at least like lying about their sustainability shows that they know that consumers increasingly care about sustainability. You know what I mean? Okay. Like before they didn't even bother to lie about it. So the fact that they're lying about it now is progress. And so I say, keep celebrating the wins. Keep celebrating the wins. Now you have to sort through the greenwashing. And we say, okay, hopefully we help with that. We have an oasis of, thoroughly vetted brands where, you can know that they're all really doing good.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So then what's your story? Why did you start Done Good?
Well, so I used to work in politics. That was my first career out of college. And I worked on...
Oh, wow.
I worked on Capitol Hill I was a communications director for a couple of U.S. senators. So I was a spokesman for politicians, and that was interesting work. I would do sometimes in DC, sometimes on campaigns, Senate races, governor's races. My last job in DC, I was the press secretary for the U.S. Department of Agriculture and for President Obama's cabinet secretary. So I was in the Obama appointee during towards the end of his administration. Yeah. And it was cool sometimes, that work. Wearing suits to DC in the middle of the summer into an office in DC wasn't
not so cool.
That part wasn't fun. No, that was gross. It was humid, 95 degrees, sweating by 9 a.m. by the time you walk in. And also just, people aren't surprised when I tell them, why do you get into that line of work? Well, because you believe in things. You're, a young guy.
Yeah.
You believe in greater economic equality. You want to fight climate change. You want, greater equality in all ways, shapes, and forms. Yeah. The various things that we're down there trying to fight for. And I mean, things are probably worse now than when I left in 2015, but, the pace of change is a little slow down there. And I don't think, DC isn't going to be able to solve problems like climate change or global poverty. Yeah. There's going to have to be another way. We're going to have to work around. And I do believe, again, that it's it's consumer spending. Whatever we demand as consumers, we have all the power in a market economy. We have all the power. whatever we demand, the market supplies. If we demand products made with living wages more often, then the world has more living wage jobs. If we
Yeah.
demand products made in a super eco-friendly way, in a carbon neutral way, there'll be more carbon neutral products. And
Yeah.
that is how you, if you really want to change the world, you got to change business behavior. And the
Mm.
businesses aren't going to change unless consumer demand changes. And so,
Yeah.
and it doesn't take much. Like I said in the, a little earlier,
Yeah.
2% of our spending matches all the donations to all the nonprofits in the country. 2% of our spending can do
Yeah.
as much good. So now imagine if some of us move 10, 20%, maybe even 50%, you know,
Hmm.
but that's the thing. It's not about, I think sometimes people get overwhelmed at the prospect of like, yeah, but I mean, there's stuff you need to buy if you're living in society, unless you're doing the van by the river thing or like the monastery, meditating
Yeah.
in Tibet, like you got to buy a bunch of stuff to like exist and to live. And we said, look, that's okay, man. And look, sometimes you're going to have to get stuff on Amazon or stuff,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, you got a little kid who wants this year's piece of plastic, this year's
Yeah.
movie, TV show, like, yeah, get the kid the piece of plastic, you know what I mean? It's like, but it's not about being perfect. It's just, if you can move 10, 20, 30% of your spending
Hmm.
to companies that are paying living wages and fighting climate change, like that is how you really make massive change.
Yeah.
And so who we give our money to is the biggest way we all impact the world. Of all the things we do, we want to recycle, we want to ride our bikes, we want to anything that these little individual decisions we try to make. Yeah, but who we giving our money to? Because who we give our money to,
Yeah.
we're funding what they do. Whatever they do, they get to do more of. And is it
Yeah.
terrible shit or is it some amazing great things? We have a site with amazing great people trying to like revolutionize economic systems, you know what I mean? And say, look,
Yeah.
there's better ways we can do all this. And
Yeah.
you can succeed and have a good business if you're paying people well and operating in a very eco-friendly way. And I'll just say, it's just like more thoughtful, meaningful, higher quality stuff. It's kind of like the difference between
Mm.
going to McDonald's or sitting down to a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
Amazon's fast for sure. If you need it super
Yeah.
fast, but like McDonald's is fast. I ain't trying to do fast all the time, and I'm trying to like take a little more time, get something higher
Yeah.
quality,
Hmm.
and so we hope that part of it is actually nice. Like you order stuff on our site. Yeah. You get, if you order from 3 brands on our site, you get the packages on 3 different days. But so like, okay, instead of it all being there now, you get that little present throughout the week, if you can wait a little longer and get something more thoughtful, like something that's handmade by a real person, and
Yeah.
something that is handmade by someone who's paid well is
Mm.
almost always just going to be better quality than just this junk that's cranked off a mass production facility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
cranking out
Definitely.
junk, these guys. It's just a big, like the whole system just kind of, they bombard us with ads to make us feel insecure, make us feel like we need to
Mhm.
buy stuff. And
Mhm.
then they're just cranking stuff off the assembly line. It's the same stuff they're selling to like 1 billion people in the world. We all get the same kind of junk. And then it wears
Yeah.
out quick. And then we have to go back and buy
Mhm.
more. That's another thing we always tell people, like, just because something's the cheapest doesn't mean it's the best deal, right? If they got you buying a $20
Mm.
thing every 6 months versus a
Mhm.
$50 thing that's going to last 5 years, the $50 thing's a
Yeah.
better deal. And it's just slower, it's more thoughtful, it's higher quality. So we think, it's better for all those reasons too. Yes, plus, of course, supporting living wages, supporting the fight
Yeah.
against
Of
climate change,
course.
supporting other good causes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the idea.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can tell you're really passionate about it, and I really love that. I feel like, we're all trying to save the world a little bit that we can, but sometimes, like for example, the whole straw situation, like we now use paper straws instead of plastic straws, but everyone knows paper straws are a pain, and we're
Yeah.
just like, we're not even using that much plastic. It's all these corporations. So I
Yes.
get how you're tackling it, and
No,
it
and
makes
that's
sense.
right. And I do think it's important to not sort of, there's a distinction between like climate change is not individual people's fault. It is like
Yeah,
huge amounts of emissions are from certain companies and certain industries. And
exactly.
also, listen, I am a person in the world who controls
Mhm.
my choices. And
Yeah,
so like the thing that we need systemic change, not just every person doing one
definitely.
little thing, but the thing
Yeah.
that gets systemic change is massive sea changes in consumer spending. That is what
Uh-huh.
does that. And so to the extent that I control my choices and I want to feel good about my choices, it's not about,
Yeah.
this is the thing, I think really at the fundamental level, it's about like shifting off so people feeling guilt or feeling like
Yeah.
overwhelmed or overburdened.
Yes.
just
Mm-hmm.
like feeling good about the 10% of the money, the 20% of the money that you did shift. That's what we
Yeah.
try really hard to celebrate. Look, and not everyone can do everything. There's infinite things you could be doing all the time to make the world better.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, we're
Yeah.
trying to balance doing that stuff and then existing in modern society,
Mm.
which we're in certain systems and we are,
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, I don't know, I need certain clothes to go to work. You know, if they want me to have this kind of job and this kind of office, even if I'm working for a do-good nonprofit or fighting for
Yeah.
what's right, you know, things like this. Or I'm a nurse in a rural area. I have to have a car. I have to drive it there. It's going to
Mm.
have emissions. You know, I can't afford an
Yeah.
EV. That these are all realities, man. There's not, and it's all interconnected. Okay,
Yeah.
so like celebrate the wins. You know what? I'm getting 10% of my stuff I've done good, and I'm getting 10% of these like local places that I know are
Yeah.
awesome. And that's 20%. And next year maybe
Yeah.
I'll do 30. And if everybody
Yeah.
did that, the world changed. The world is our problems are over. You know what I mean? Like, things change. Really, you know. And it only
Zen.
takes small. This is documented. Like it only takes small shifts in consumer spending
Yeah.
before you start seeing even major companies start to shift and start to take steps. So I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
just these are the decisions I can control. I'm going to have the
Yeah.
wins. I'm going to celebrate the progress, and we're going to see things
Mhm.
move. And that's what we're doing. And so like our goal is just to help try to make it easier for people,
Yeah.
you know, who would like to take some steps and have some wins and feel a little bit better about what they're doing and their own decisions, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So, what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing at Done Good at the moment?
Challenges. I mean, look, it's always difficult to grow an audience and get more people to hear about us. So I appreciate, you know, all
True.
these opportunities to talk. And I will say too, you know, we've been at it 8 years now. We are currently actually in
Wow.
the market for a strategic acquisition. So
Okay.
in order to help change the game and, you know, ideally, I mean, in order to help drastically increase the positive impact that we can all make,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that Done Good and our community of conscious consumers and partner brands can all make together. So
Mm-hmm.
we're in the market for a strategic acquisition, and we're talking to some like larger e-commerce companies. That's potentially an
Okay.
obvious fit.
Mm-hmm.
Also, though, we're talking with like media companies or even large influencers
Okay.
where they already have like a large mission aligned audience who would be inclined to shop sustainably, and so
Yeah.
you know we're even open to like rebranding our site to you know match
Okay.
a platform that has a large progressive you know sustainable
Yeah.
minded audience who
Yeah.
would be interested in shopping sustainably because that if
Yeah.
you can take what we've built take our you know 11,000 products 120 brands we
Mm-hmm.
can continue to add brands to the site as well but um, now combine it with somebody who already has a large audience then that means you know
Yeah.
maybe e-commerce can be another revenue stream for that platform that has a large audience
Yeah.
and it just more quickly solves our number one challenge, which has been with small teams and small budgets, getting in front of more like-minded people. And so that's
Yeah.
we're looking for that kind of a you know kind of marriage, kind of a merger, strategic acquisition,
Yeah.
where again we can take what we've built and get it in front of a larger audience, or you know have it merge with, like I said, an existing e-commerce site that already
Mm.
either is sort of a sustainable marketplace or would like to add 11,000 sustainable products
Yeah.
to its mix. I mean, ultimately, our impact, the good that we can make in the world, is just dependent on helping our partner brands, you know,
Mm-hmm.
be more successful and helping more
Of
people who
course.
want to shop consciously to be able to do that easily. So it's about finding sort of that best match where
Yeah.
you've already built this audience, great. And but you know a lot of times if it's a media or content or influencer they're trying to figure out how to monetize, they're selling ads or subscriptions, that's tough and
Mm.
it's kind of cheesy you know what I mean? Or this is difficult, you know, even New York
Yeah.
Times has trouble with that model, right? So like well so could we have that kind of combination, that kind of marriage either with a larger e-commerce site or some
Yeah.
kind of media content influencer platform
Mm-hmm.
where it makes sense, or you know we're also talking potentially just with marketing agencies who are good at growing audiences. Sometimes
Yeah.
they'll acquire a site and then grow it using their own resources. Could
Yeah.
even be an individual with access to capital, who has
Yeah.
access to capital, can raise some capital, and you know. So we're talking with those kinds of groups, looking for
Yeah.
some kind of game changing
Yeah.
partnership that can really help catapult the social impact that we can make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a curveball. I want to ask you why you feel like you would want to go the, acquisition route instead of just like going down the marketing and growing the company more.
Well, like I said, we've been working on that, and with small teams
Yeah.
and small budgets, it's slow growth. So we're looking for
Yeah.
something game changing, right? That changes the
Yeah.
trajectory, so that the work we've built and the communities of conscious consumers, 100,000
Mm,
members, 120 partner brands, can make a bigger impact, and we can accelerate the growth and accelerate the impact because it's.
yeah.
I mean, anyone who's doing e-commerce, from scratch, unless if you and maybe we should have done this. We started at the Harvard Innovation Lab. Sometimes I think
Okay.
like when we were just an idea, we should have tried to raise a few $1 million. Because when you try to grow, before raising money, like within e-commerce, it's tough. People are trying to, a lot of people out there trying to
Mm,
make the digital marketing game work, and you're giving money to Google or Facebook or whomever, and it's like it's not.
yeah.
Um, it's it's a tough road to hoe. We've been around for
It
years.
is.
We've raised some outside money,
Yeah.
some investor capital. We've and we've grown and we've continued to grow. It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
we're trying to make a big impact more quickly. So let's do
Yeah.
something. Let's do something game changing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So then, yeah, I think you kind of answered my final question which is, what sort of assistance would you like from our community? So you're just looking for that sort of either individual or company that would be able to acquire you and just take you to the next step.
Yeah, certainly if anyone has any ideas, I mean, we're reaching out to people strategically and having conversations and things. But yeah, if anyone has an idea, they can get in touch with us. Team@donegood.co is they can always drop an email there. And then
Okay.
I also say we should certainly like if you're buying something, whether it's clothes, we also have coffee, tea, household
Okay.
cleaners, self-care, shampoo, lotion, facial
Uh-huh.
moisturizer. I mean, we got all sorts of stuff on the
Yeah.
lights for the house, decorative. We got Empowered. It's some really
Okay.
cool backyard or camping string lights, things
Uh-huh.
like this, solar powered, of course. There's all sorts of cool stuff, jewelry, all sorts of stuff on the site. All of it's
Yeah.
making the world better. All of it's helping, some of our 120 brands prove that you can be a successful business and make the world better at the same time. It does not have to be this idea that like, we're just maximizing profit and squeezing labor and destroying the
Yeah.
planet at all,
Yeah.
just maximizing profit at all short-term profit at all costs.
Uh-huh.
That's a relatively new idea in human history. That's like 40,
Mhm.
50 years old. You know what I mean? That's like Milton Friedman and Ronald Reagan. It's that old.
Yeah.
And so, businesses that say, look, no, we are doing things differently. And if you believe that business should be different and you believe that we can have economic systems that help lift people up and help save the
Mm,
planet instead of the other way around, buy a few things from them. You know what I mean? Come to our site,
yeah.
meet some of them. They're cool. And there's the people, like we're lucky enough to know a lot of the founders. I mean, they're just all cool people. I just would rather give my money also to John at Empowered or, Steve at Kyrgyz or
Yeah.
some of the others than Bezos, so he can build some more penis shaped rockets. I mean, whatever. He's good. He's got enough. He's got enough for the penis shape. He's got enough.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. He's good. He's fine. And look, he's still gonna get sometimes again. You got to buy some
Yeah.
stuff from Amazon. We don't have everything, and sometimes you
Yeah.
do need it in 24 hours or whatever. Right? I left my
Mhm.
computer charger at my sister's. I called 3 places locally. None of them had the right one. I had to get it on Amazon. They had it there later that night. I mean, it's crazy. I hate to do it, personally. The founder at Dunkin', I still once in a while I got to get something off Amazon. I borrow my buddy's Prime. I don't have my own Prime, but I get my buddies. And we get, but if you can do a little. So basically, yeah. You got any? Certainly, if you're working at a company where you're like, you know what, we're a large company with an audience of people who would be interested
Mhm.
in shopping on Dungood, or we're a larger
Mhm.
e-commerce company, and sure, like any of those connections are great. Other than that, though, yeah, shopping on our site always is helpful. And I tell you, we can make a discount code. We didn't talk about this ahead of time. We probably should have. Do we want to do a discount code for all the hostels here?
Okay.
Why don't we do HW20? Just HW the letters.
Okay.
HW20. I'll send it to you too. Maybe you can
Yeah. I'll put it in the post.
put it in the post with it all. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let me do that. Yeah, and that'll be that'll be for 20% off anything on the site.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. We
Of
do
course.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it helps.
Cool. So then before, well, just one more question before I let you go. Would you be interested then from hearing from people like within marketing roles if they were looking for sort of more micro marketing, or are you just like strictly acquiring?
Yeah, as of right now, we're really focused on strategic acquisition, so we're not
Yeah.
doing any hiring. I think feel free to stay in touch or send. We got to file our resumes and things.
Sure.
I mean, potentially post acquisition, maybe we'll be
Yeah.
hiring. You know what I mean? Or the
Yeah.
acquiring company. Sort of slash us.
Yeah.
We'll be hiring.
Whatever.
So it's possible. I mean, people can feel free to be in touch.
Yeah.
We're not going to be doing any hiring in the short term.
Yeah.
But people can always send a resume. That's no problem.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Cullen. It's been amazing chatting to you. You're really cool, and I love the concept. I really do. I love that you take it out of, the consumers. Like one of my stresses is the fact that I try to find people that I'm like, okay, now I'm buying from this person, and I know that this person is locally sourced, and that researching part is exhausting for me. So I
Totally.
know that,
Exactly. That's the
like,
idea.
I,
We've done
yeah,
the research for you. This is just like the
yeah,
peace of mind to know this is a safe place.
yeah,
Got 120 companies I can buy from all on one site. I
yeah.
find what I'm looking for, and at least some portion of the dollars that I'm putting out into the world are going to support the things
Are
I believe
doing
in. And I
something.
can just know that. I can just have that peace of mind.
Yeah.
And so then it's also fast. Okay, I can just go to this
Mm.
site and buy things quickly like I could on
I
any
don't
other
even have
site
to think
without
about
having to
it.
do all that research every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which is awesome. Awesome.
I
So
really
yeah, thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yeah, thank you very much. I
Thank you
really
again for
appreciate
your
it.
time. And yeah, I wish you all the best in future.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Izzy. Talk to you soon.
Awesome.